Hey, my name is Billy Otto. I'm a Malaysian Australian psych pop artist from Newcastle, Australia originally, but Byron Bay is my home. My journey began in the church world. I grew up in a big family that was really involved in church music from a young age, and so I've got three siblings, and we all sing, we all play many instruments, and my little Malaysian mum was so big on us learning classical piano. That was the first thing that we learned. It's so classic. But yeah, I grew up playing in bands as well, and it was just incredible being in Newcastle at a time where music was really encouraged. Even though I grew up in a real big coal mining rugby league town, there was something about young people being in bands that was cool. And so I learned like 6 instruments by like the age of 16, and I just found myself signed to a label by the age of 15, and I was traveling around, and it was music that really opened up my eyes to the world. Traveling all around Australia with this band, playing punk music. And I think that was a huge part of me becoming me, just being exposed to so many people in a short period of time. I am so inspired by the ocean, and I literally am in the water, and it's usually when I'm coming out of the water, like emerging like a merman, that I feel this sense of inspiration, muse, ether, and ideas come to me really, really quickly. Like I could literally write a good song at least once or twice a day. And it's always connected to water, and maybe that's because we all come from the womb. Our bodies are like, 80% water. In the shower, I get so many ideas for songs, and I'm singing things. Old songs come back to me, like Sonic Diaries come back to me. And so it's like, I just feel really connected. Firstly, like I get into the zone of music making through the ocean, through the shower. And then I get my voice memo out. I record an idea on my phone. I'd be like, baby, cause I want you, baby, man. It's just kind of like these murmurings. It's almost like I'm speaking in tongues. And then I will, from there, just go into the studio with that idea and make a beat. I'm very big on making a beat really early and making a vibe huge. And so it's from there that I start layering vocals. It's usually like getting lyrics really, really right is like the last thing I do, because for me, it's just about the big vibe. Tom York, Radiohead. I love him. I'm obsessed with him. He's my demigod. He's my king. And I love everything that Radiohead has done over the last 20 years. I love how broody, how dark they are. I feel like Tom York sees things. It's almost like he sees music visually, and anything that he touches turns to gold. It's like depressing AF. Their music has got me through a lot of things, but I think he really speaks from a raw place, as it is. Timeless, ageless songwriting. He goes between rock, between indie, between electronica. I love all his solo stuff too. And I feel like his beautiful, dark energy, I just would love to be around it. Do some songwriting over a couple of days in London. That would be a dream. Ooh. Okay, it's a bit of a blend between a couple of cool cats. David Bowie, big one. Love nails. Love a bit of makeup. Love some earrings. I love his Ziggy phase. I love things being loud. I love skin. Michael Hutchence, as far as hair and a bit more of that masculine coming through. I love having like big dark hair and what that kind of does to style. Into Harry Styles. Yeah, it sounds like such a sellout thing to say, but HS, what a guy. I think he's just really pushed the boundaries with like the masculine feminine blend, and I think he's really done something beautiful for the world. Like, man, he doesn't really give a shit, you know. He's just doing his thing, and he's so in his hips, he's so in his body when it comes to his wardrobe. Yeah, keep pushing those boundaries, Harry. Let me think. The weirdest thing that's ever happened to me. Oh, I was in Brazil I was in Brazil, and I was about to play my last show in Brazil, and it was my birthday 4 years ago. We were in the north of Brazil, I think close to Bahia or something. I can't remember exactly where we were. But my manager and I were just like walking around this block, just having some reflection time before I was about to go on stage. And I was like super excited, super emotional. I've got like a Brazilian heart, like, eu falo português, meu coração brasileiro, like, I just love Brazilian culture. I'm obsessed with Brazilian people. And Regis, my manager, and this girl called Dina, she just got me a birthday present. She's so sweet. And I was just like, let's get a selfie. This is so beautiful. Next minute, this dude jumps off a motorbike, off the back of some other guy's motorbike, and he's kind of jacked, and he comes over to me trying to steal my phone. And I remember just thinking to myself, because I'd heard so many crazy stories about people like getting stabbed, getting shot in Brazil over iPhones, you know what I mean? I fully thought it was like the last minute of this little Malaysian soul's life. And so I just remember being so much shocked, just going, ah! And my manager and the girl were trying to run, but I was just in shock, screaming like a girl. It was such an initiation. And I just was in so much shock that I couldn't even let go of the phone. I was just like, yeah, so that's what happened. And then I had to go play a show. I was a little bit traumatized, but yeah, that was probably the weirdest, most unusual thing that's ever happened to me, is like nearly getting like rolled before a show. I thought I was gonna die. Hey, take me to the water. Is a huge one for me. Like, there's been multiple times in my life where I felt like I wanted to end my life. Yeah. I don't know if I could have ever fully done it myself, but I wanted to die, and I was like resolute about it, because I guess the grey cloud, the black dog, was just too much. I felt really enveloped by it. I think it's really hard, especially for men in Australia, because we've been so slow to come to the mental health conversation. Take the ticket for 80% of suicides in Australia are men, right? So it's pretty wild. And, you know, grow up in a coal mining town, rugby league town, driving Commodores, driving Hiluxes. And it's like, I was literally told not to cry as a kid by my own family, you know what I mean? It's just like, but I know that the only way through all of this is that one way through. Like, we've got to freaking have these conversations. Like, we've got to be real and raw and vulnerable. And I feel really honored that within part of my platform, I'm able to encourage this kind of culture where we can sit down in a circle and weep over each other, brother to brother, shoulder to shoulder, brother to sister. And so I just want to tell you that you're awesome, that if I was with you right now, I'd give you a big hug. You know, life is really, really tricky. I totally get it. It's so freaking tricky and it's brutal, but we're in this together. And the more that we can learn to meditate, the more that we can learn to breathe, to exercise. Yeah, all those tools and codes are all there. So I'm so about it. Check in with me. Send me a text if you're struggling. I've spoken in schools all over the world about a bit about my story and how to be accountable. And, you know, I am a very sensitive, emotional songwriter, you know, and I'm the happiest person I know, but at the same time, I know that at any point I can spiral into these patterns. I feel like in my ancestry, there was a lot of mental health issues. And, but if you're experiencing pain, I just want you to know that, you know, pain can also be an incredible friend. You know, it's a teacher. And for me, the more that I've learned to befriend pain and see that the beauty in this life is really in the grit. It's fucking in the messy stuff, you know? That's where my songs come from. That's why people pay me to play for them and to work with them in the studio, is because of my ability to be able to access my pain. And so yeah, good art comes out of pain. Love ya. Can't take the ocean out of me. Alexander the Great would be one. I'm really into history, and Alexander the Great, he had this vision to go to the East. He heard about this place called India. He took his army for 7 years over the most crazy lands, took on some crazy armies, and I think he just had this crazy, lucid, real dream about becoming the greatest leader at his time, and he was so young. So yeah, Alexander the Great would be 1. John Lennon would be 2. Johnny Lennon, he's written all my favourite songs. I'm obsessed with the Beatles. They are like my boys, my big bros, my uncles in the craft. And I think John Lennon was the greatest songwriter of all time. He had his issues, he had his ups and downs, but I think he was really true to his craft, and he was so prolific. And I think that's one of the biggest things that I learned from John Lennon and Paul McCartney, is that they were just so prolific on their craft. Who knows if they're always writing the best songs, but they always wrote songs all the time. And then number 3, Heath Ledger. Yeah. Every week I get told by someone that I look like Heath Ledger, and I find it a massive compliment. Love his style, love his legacy. But I think he's probably one of the golden children of Australian film, obviously, and just an iconic cult actor. And I was always really inspired of him when I was a kid. Sending love to all the West Oz fam. I'm Billy Otto, and I've loved talking with you. Keep on the journey, keep on the path, keep following your passion. I love Zeally Bay.